Revenge films.
I met my wife when I was in my second year of university. On my way home from my part-time job, that night, it was snowing softly. Even though it was the middle of the night and snowing, the woman wasn't using an umbrella. She wasn't even wearing a coat. At first I thought she was a ghost and ignored her out of fear. But when I looked closely, her face was covered in bruises and her lip was cut. I was so worried, so I called out to her, but she only stared at me. "You're hurt, so I can call you an ambulance or the police." When I said that, she reacted.
Please don't!
She begged me not to call anyone.
Thing.
She tried to walk away, but I called out to her again on impulse. "Hey! Can you make dinner? I have an important test and I want to eat salmon because it's brain food, but I can't cook. Can you cook it for me?" The woman froze when I asked her to make my dinner. Her face was written with the words, "What the hell is he on about?" I couldn't just leave this beautiful woman outside to freeze, so I invited her to stay at mine and lent her my shower. While she was using the shower, I went out to buy groceries. And when I came back, she was sitting small in the corner of the room. Anyway, I got her to make me dinner. She apparently thought that it was a joke and was surprised when I handed her the groceries, but I told her, "I'm serious, please." And I got her to make it for me. Afterwards, I ate the delicious meal and asked her all sorts of questions. "What's your name? How old are you? Where do you live? Are your injuries okay?" But I only got her name and found out that we were in the same age. "Where were you planning to go?" When I asked her that, she seemed troubled, so I guess she didn't have anywhere to go. When I said, "It's late, so you can stay the night," she shook her head strongly. Well, I expected that reaction. If we're the same age, then I can only imagine she'd feel even more awkward about staying. But I couldn't just throw her out, so I tried my best to convince her. "The last train will be going soon, so I can't just send you back out into the snow." With that, she finally gave in. Even so, she still seemed nervous, so I stayed over at my friend's place on another floor. When I came back from my part-time job the next night, it surprised me that she was there. I thought she would have left by then. When I returned home, she turned off the TV she had been watching.
Thank you for everything. I thought it would be rude to leave without saying anything, so I was waiting for you.
"Are you gonna go home? Why were you hurt? If you're in trouble, I'll help you." Then the woman said,
I just had a fight with my parents, that's all.
"Would you get a bruise on your face from fighting with your parents? She's a girl after all." Hearing that, I got a bit angry. She told me that her parents' house was a bullet train ride away, but that she managed to make it this far by interchanging local lines with the money she had on her. She had planned to try to find work in any bars or pubs once her bruises had disappeared. She really only had a little bit of money with her. I asked her, "If you had the time to grab your money and your makeup, why don't you have your coat?"
I gave it to a homeless person. I have the money to buy a new coat, but they didn't, so...
She answered me with a smile. "Oh, she's considerate of other people. She's kind." As I thought that, I decided. "Then stay here until your injuries have healed. If you feel it's too much, then can you make dinner? Of course, I'll sleep over at my friend's place."
I can't do that.
Was her initial answer, but I managed to convince her again. After that, I would go to uni, then work, and once I got home, she would be waiting for me with dinner ready. That was my new lifestyle. Until I met her, I was living on convenience store food and microwave dinners because I couldn't cook. On top of that, I would always buy from the same place, so it was getting boring. And I'm pretty sure I was lacking in nutrients. I gave her money to buy groceries, and she used it carefully, choosing stores with the better bargain and saved as much as possible, while making a well-balanced and different meal every day. Everything she made was delicious, and I was really happy. When her bruises had started to fade, I asked her, "Would you stay with me?" At the beginning, she didn't speak so much, but as we spent more time together, we had more conversations, and well, they do say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I had fallen for her. "The food you make is really delicious, and I'm really happy with my current life. If it's not a bother to you, I don't want you to leave." When I told her this,
As a couple?
was her response. "I like you, but I want to respect your feelings. I know you must be going through a lot, and I want to help you. When I said that, she asked for a day to think about it. I just meant to tell her that I wanted her to be by my side, that I didn't want her to leave, but it became a confession of my feelings. Truthfully, my heart was beating pretty hard. She had asked for a day to think, and for that day, I couldn't focus on anything. But the next day, she gave me her reply.
I'd be happy to.
I was really happy. It's embarrassing to say, but she was really cute. I couldn't believe a woman like that had become my girlfriend. And even though I was acting calm, I was so happy my heart was pounding. She didn't even have a phone, so I bought a simple flip phone for her straight away. After that, she was really busy. She had managed to get an interview the next day and was hired on the spot. She worked hard at her part-time job, and the next month, on her payday, she handed me the entire amount, saying,
Thank you for everything until now.
it was an amount that way beyond what I had spent on her until then. I told her, I can't accept this much, and you don't owe me anything. But
At that time, we were still strangers. I want to pay you back.
And she didn't give in. With no other choice, I accepted it and decided to keep it as savings for a trip we could go on one day when we had the time. Like that, she worked hard at the same store for 2 years until I graduated university. And when I got a job, she resigned. We moved house when I resigned, but until then, we'd been staying in the same one-room apartment as the time we met. Also, we hadn't bought any extra mattresses, so we'd been using my single mattress together. We began to think about getting married, so we went to visit her parents. They were so rich. They had a garden like the kind you can only see on TV. They even had gardeners to take care of it, and there were helpers hired to do the house cleaning. She had been the eldest daughter of such a house. Her parents were the typical example of toxic parents, and she had an older brother and a younger sister, but they were just as bad. Her older brother didn't have the mental strength or the proficiency to withstand the pressure of being the heir, and had been taking his stress out on his own sister physically. When her parents had given up on their own son and they had shifted their interest to their eldest daughter and gave her the best education. But they made her learn all sorts of things, and if things didn't turn out the way they expected, they'd say things like, "You're an embarrassment to our family." When we went to visit, it had been years since they had seen each other, but
It would have been better if you were dead.
gonna take responsibility for the shame you brought upon us, and said whatever they liked. Her little sister had been modeling using their family connections and had said,
What's so good about this ugly cow?
and belittled her own older sister. The day we had met, she had fought with her parents about marrying a guy they had chosen for her, who was 20 years older. That's why she had been covered in bruises. My wife had said,
If I have to spend the rest of my life with someone I don't love, I'd rather choose to be free.
run away from home. I regretted having told her that if she planned to cut ties with her family, then she should do it properly. I got angry, shouted my piece, and took my wife home. She expressed her own regret at introducing me to such horrible people. But I had made her go, even though she didn't want to, and I felt so sorry for it. After that, I took her to see my parents. My parents were shocked because I had announced our engagement right after getting a job. And when they met her and saw how beautiful she was, at first, my parents seriously thought it was some sort of prank. I explained the situation regarding her parents and having disowned them. They were angry that even in this day and age, there were still people who would try to set up a political marriage without a thought for their children. My mother said,
If you're happy with a man like this and a family like this, then we're happy to have you.
"Mom, what do you mean like this?"
Because you're so average. It's strange that a lovely girl like this would want to marry you.
As she listened to me and my mom talk, she laughed. And my dad, "Really? I always wanted a daughter, not a son. So I'm glad that it's finally come true." Said that and cried. We all laughed at that. Since then, everything's progressed pretty quickly. I only just got a job, so we had signed the marriage contract, but hadn't planned to hold a ceremony.
She's so beautiful, and you won't let her wear a wedding dress? That's ridiculous.
My parents paid for the entire wedding, and we were able to have the ceremony. She hadn't been lucky with her own family, but now she's surrounded by me, my parents, and our daughter, living happily ever after.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.